Hey buddies, Urkel here. A lot of us have played a lot of RL crafts. After a while you get to a level of skill that makes much of the challenge pretty trivial. The modpack has been around for quite a while and veterans of the game have developed all sorts of strategies for success in the game. You dig a hole, you find a village, you sleep through the night, you make a farm, you make a lot of farms, maybe you even mine. You slowly increase your skills and the quality of your gear, and then you win. I'm not judging. It's a reliable approach. But what if you had to do things differently? What if every night you skipped? Everything you decided to wait on, and every time you decided to play it safe, worked against you? What if something else was gaining experience and growing stronger, and what if that thing was better at it than you? I'm pleased to present to you a video guide briefly describing the Parasited mod pack. It is an unofficial RL Craft spin-off assembled by Nischelm, Iqury, and CDSTK. The mods used are mostly from the RL and SRP communities. This pack is much different from what you're used to. Your typical RL craft or Minecraft experience involves all those things I mentioned: finding a favorable spots for a base, settling down, interacting with hostile mobs and finding villagers, and eventually getting better mobility and fighting prowess. There are a lot of approaches used in order to become strong and fight in the dangerous and rewarding dungeons and dimensions, and Parasited is not too different from the usual Minecraft experience. But there is one exception that you'll always have to concern yourself with: parasites. Now watch a video of someone doing a playthrough involving the Escape and Run Parasites mod, and you may notice that people have a very tough time overcoming them. Bases are rapidly destroyed, death loops are incredibly common, and what starts out as a fun new experience quickly turns into a completely unwinnable situation. In RL Craft, parasites are actually categorically nerfed by default because they cannot spawn and evolve in the overworld. But believe it or not, the parasites can be overcome even in their base mod. Even when they can infect the overworld in RL Craft, they can be overcome. And the way to play the game is in the name of the mod itself. You have to run and you have to escape until you can bring the infestation under control. Now this doesn't lend itself to having a spot to chill out, but thankfully this was addressed with the addition of the Mind Palace mod. So let's take it back to the beginning. This might be a familiar looking spot to you, and maybe if you're fortunate this could be your starting base. I'm going to talk about Mind Palaces now. So the thing about Mind Palace is it's a place to craft and chill, and also to base safely. Now if you're going to be basing in a parasited world, you better have a secure location, and none is better than a pocket dimension. How do you get to this pocket dimension? It's actually pretty simple. All you need is a clock, which is easily findable in a lot of structures. You need it to be nighttime, and you need to find a bed. And when you find that bed, you sleep in it with the clock in your hand or your offhand. You'll be transported to the Mind Palace. Now I know it's not much to look at, but the Mind Palace is a 5x5 cubic space of air that is surrounded by bedrock in a dimension that is devoid of everything else. Nothing can spawn here. Eventually you'll be able to fill it with useful blocks for storage and utility, and then you'll be able to come back to this space that you're able to chill out in every night, except of course during blood moons. This place has enough room to set up an enchantment table, as well as space for bone spores and netherwort, and many other types of plant material. Think of it as your first base, or more appropriately, a pocket dimension to chill and craft. And during your time here, time passes as normal in other dimensions, and you can virtually skip the night without needing to worry about the parasites gaining points. But make sure to coordinate with people that you might be playing with when it comes to sleeping, because the night can be skipped by those outside the Mind Palace. You can leave the Mind Palace anytime by sleeping, or you can leave the Mind Palace by warping out. You can also wait until your sleep paralysis timer reaches 0. To retain access to Mind Palace, it's smart at first to have a collection of clocks at different waypoints in case of an emergency or death, because being able to enter and establish utility in the Mind Palace should be your early and mid-game priority. Many different structures are known to have clocks. This is not one of those structures, but this is a place where I've pre-planted a clock right next to a bed to have easy access to the Mind Palace. All you need to do is grab this clock, put it into your bed, or put it into your hand, and if you die, then you can easily go back to the Mind Palace. Now you can't go back to the Mind Palace in the same night. You'll just sleep through the night. So about those places that have the clocks. There are a number of structures and villages that typically will have a clock, or at least have a good enough chance to. This is one of those spots, a white shirt house. And also, one spot that has pretty high chance of having them is this little area. On the top chest in this house will sometimes have a clock or two as well. But these aren't the only spots. You can also get them from battle towers. This is the battle tower's 5th floor, and I found it just my first try looking at this 5th floor box. Pretty nifty, right? Yeah, I'm definitely not editing this. Oh yeah. So there's another location that is very easy to live in as far as parasites are concerned, the Nether. The Nether starts at a different phase from the overworld. It starts at phase -1. And the end also has a different phase from the overworld. It starts in phase 3. And so as far as parasites concerned, this is a rather safe dimension. But as I just showed you, it's very easy to find a Nether portal that is already lit. And so you can't depend on the Nether not being infested at all, because parasites can go through there and establish dominance within the dimension if given the opportunity. So you have to be careful when you're entering the Nether. You could always just be unlucky. Moving on. This is going great. So you may be wondering, while I'm escaping and running from all these parasites, what am I going to do for XP? Well, there's a number of different strategies that you can use. You can break spawners, and there are a couple of structures that have quite a few spawners actually. This is one of them, and so is this. This structure has 8 zombie spawners. That's quite a bit of XP. You can break all the spawners in this to get a good decent load of XP, and help progress you into the mid game. Now, here we go. You may also be wondering, can I just do a sky base? And that might seem like a good idea for a while. You can definitely build a sky base. You can live in it, and you can, as you tower up to it, you may run into a problem. The thing about sky bases is that they completely avoid escape and run parasites as a mod. They trivialize the game, and I guess the biggest thing is they're kind of boring. And so what do you think was decided when it came to sky bases? Do you think that we're just going to let it happen? No. And you may find out why, but it may not happen in this video. And you may just have to find out on your own why sky bases are so discouraged. Now we're going to talk about the parasite threat. We're going to change the phase to 1 here. So the first phase of escape and run parasites is, Parasited is scared ruptors. So ruptors begin to naturally spawn in phase 1. And the thing about ruptors spawning naturally is that they can quickly gang up on vanilla mobs and quickly convert them into parasites. Let's see how they do against this group of zombies. They didn't do too well, actually. Let's do just a few more. Oh my god, guys, let me in. Bob. So as you can see, it doesn't take very long for a group of raptors to quickly assimilate a gaggle of vanilla mobs. Now, it's not like RL only has vanilla mobs, but it's one of the main ways that parasites gain points is by assimilating a group of those. So basically what you want to do is you want to avoid phase 1 as much as possible because you won't have as much time, all things considered, to avoid point gaining by parasites. The evolution system is how parasites gain points. They kill or assimilate vanilla mobs or modded mobs, and this is how they gain points. You can see a visual representation of how many points you've gained in the bottom right of my screen in that sick-looking overlay, the one with the number 1 beside it. This tells you your phase, but it also gives a visual representation of a percentage of how many points that you've accumulated. After you reach a given number of points that have been gained by these ruptors, you move into the next phase, and the next phase is known as assimilation. Assimilation is basically once enough mobs have been assimilated, then they will begin showing up, spawning naturally. And let's see if we can find a few of them spawning naturally, shall we? Well, I don't know if you can tell, but you're actually hearing them right now. You're hearing them underground. Basically, once parasites begin to evolve, they start attacking these vanilla mobs underground. While they are doing this, you're going to hear a bunch of different lightning strikes. You're going to hear a bunch of different explosions, because not only are they going to be attacking witches, etc. underground, they're going to be also attacking non-standard mobs, kind of like the creepers and the other mobs that they don't normally go after. But enough about that. Or I guess I'll expand on it a little bit more. As I said, it depends on the number of mobs assimilated. What kind of mobs are you going to be seeing in this phase? Well, it really, again, depends on what was assimilated before. If you had a lot of Endermen that were assimilated, you start to see assimilated Endermen starting to get spawned. And trust me, assimilated Endermen are bad. You don't want to experience these guys at any point in your playthrough before you're able to handle them. They'll teleport parasites to you, they'll create all sorts of havoc, and they'll generally ruin your playthrough, or at least kill you quite a bit. Right now we just got assimilated humans. Those are kind of like a default type of mob that shows up no matter how many have been assimilated. But it does get to the point. What are these guys doing here? Oh, the sea serpent, that's right. Oh no, it's a thresher. Or a roa, I guess. Anyways. It does get to a point where you start to see a given type of mob a little bit more than you otherwise would. And that's because you haven't exactly been able to control the infestation in an adequate way. Let's see what this Nischelm can do to Lycanite mobs. As you can see, these ones are not afraid of water, and they chaotically teleport around, and they teleport other parasites around in order to attack the various mobs that are not yet assimilated. Sometimes their AI can be a little bit buggy. They try to attack a flying creature that isn't usually found in normal Minecraft. But trust me, these things are point-gaining machines. Once they're done, they'll quickly teleport around and teleport other parasites around to these other mobs that are extremely defenseless against their style of combat. And that's just how SRP works. So what comes after phase 2? Assimilation. Well, there's phase 3. And this is called Ocean's Wheat. In this phase, ocean parasites begin to spawn naturally. And let's take a look, shall we? See these guys? These are called swimmers. They're basically waterborne ruptors, and they swim extremely fast. Now, do you think that they're just going to be going for the strong mobs and dying to them? No, they're going to be going mostly for these squids, rapidly assimilating them, rapidly assimilating everything that they possibly can, extremely quickly. And they do it with some ruthless efficiency. Now the thing about these ocean parasites is that they can gain points extremely quickly. And so any idea that you may have had about being safe from parasites because you were in the water or over the water where parasites don't normally spawn in base SRP, well, you should abandon that strategy altogether because it's no longer going to happen. And it really is just a matter of time until these ocean parasites assimilate enough mobs to become quite strong and eventually dominate the water. But there is a way to more directly address the parasite evolution that's happening under your feet constantly, all the time, and that's with lures and carcasses. So lures are crafted from parasite components and they pause point gaining when used alone. Carcasses are 5 lures in a 7x7 square. They directly decrease points. And carcasses are also phase locked. We have the various types of carcasses. This one's made from ruptors. It's usable from phase 1 onwards. This one's a feint lure made from assimilated mobs. You can use it from phase 2 onwards, and so on and so forth until you get to the biome lure, the essential segment, and you can use this from, say, phase 6 onward. It's the strongest lure that you can possibly make. Now, as I said before, used by themselves, used by right-clicking with an empty hand, you can introduce a point cooldown. But if you have a carcass, as shown here, you can directly decrease the points that you have. And since this is a ruptor lure carcass, I can use this in phase 1 and actually decrease my phase back to 0. So this is the basics of how you control the parasites around you. I gave you a little bit of information about the threat and how you can play around this using the Mind Palace and eventually the lure and carcass system. May make another video, but it's definitely not going to be edited just like this one. A little bit too busy for that, but I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a primer on how to approach this mod in general. Anyways, I hope someone else makes a better video than me, but this is what you got for now. Until then, friends, I wish you the best of luck with this mod. It's worth it to understand how it works, and it can be a lot of fun figuring out how to overcome the parasites in your world. Goodbye.